New gear season for 2025, and first up we have the Callaway Elite drivers. Now these drivers do look a little bit familiar and I'm very excited to put these to the test, so let's get into it. So this is the Elite range, and this has given me a little bit of a flashback to the Callaway Epic drivers. Now I used the Callaway Epic for years. I really liked how that looked. For me, the sole of these golf clubs look very, very similar to what we used to see with the Epic drivers. However, the crown of them is a little bit different, more like the classic Callaway we've seen in the last couple of years, whereas that Epic driver had a very reflective crown to it, which we do see in the low spin model of the Elite drivers. So I'm here at the driving range at Playa del Rey. I've got the 3 models in the Elite range. I'm going to work through them, talk you guys through each of the 3 different models, pick my favourite, and then we're going to take it out onto the golf course. So first up, I've got the standard model here. Now obviously I said that the base of these clubs looks very similar to the Callaway Epic driver. This one is slightly different. When you put it down to address, we've got that matte head with the carbon design on the top of it. As usual with Callaway drivers, we've got that little chevron on the top to use as an alignment aid. You can also see the name of the club is printed there on the top of the golf club towards the heel. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It draws your eye to it a lot more to that compared to the chevrons. So I almost feel like I want to step up to the ball, aligning the club towards the heel, which isn't great, but we'll hit a few shots and see how we get on with it. So these drivers, we've got 10.5 degrees. However, when you set up to it, it looks very, very flat at the face. It looks like there's a lot of loft taken off here, which I know a lot of the manufacturers are sort of trying to do based on feedback at the minute. It's not really my preference. Makes me not super confident stood over the ball. Okay, that was better. That comes off very, very fast and powerful from the face. Obviously, we've got the GC quad here. Now, because we are hitting range balls, the numbers won't be perfect. It's more about sort of comparing the 3 models to each other rather than taking the numbers for each one individually. I really like that ball flight. So I quite like the standard model, a little bit of a tendency with it to leak out to the right ever so slightly, but when I hit it nice, I really, really like that ball flight. Gonna move on to the X model now, which should be a little bit more forgiving, so maybe we'll be able to remove that leaking out to the right a touch. Differences between these, as you can see at address, the X is that little bit bigger, it's a little bit more drawn out. With the X, you can either have it in neutral or draw, whereas with the standard, you can have all 3 settings, so you can go for a fade bias as well. But we'll give this one a go and see if it can help me reduce that slight right tendency here. So once I've decided between the 3 models, we're going to take the Foresight out onto the golf course so we can get proper numbers with fresh golf balls. So we will have real numbers to talk to you guys about eventually. When I first put those 2 next to each other, I wasn't actually sure how much bigger it was, but now when you stand to address, it does look and feel quite a bit bigger, quite a bit more drawn out at the back there. Okay, that was a bad strike. It doesn't look like it was a bad strike, but that definitely was. Don't even want to show you on the face where that hit. All right, so a couple little differences between those 2 so far. I think the standard model sounds a little bit louder. It feels like it comes off the face just a little bit faster. I do think this one is a bit easier to swing at. It's a little bit more forgiving, but the head does look massive when you put it behind the ball. So if you're not a fan of that, you might struggle a little bit with this driver. Finally, coming on to the triple diamond, this very much feels like going from one extreme to the other. So with this driver, now we've got the shiny head. This feels a lot more like the old Epic that I used to have. Obviously, with the low spin model, we've got that smaller, more compact head. And essentially, the way that this looks at address with that shiny top, that's come from tour feedback from some of the Callaway professionals. So that's what the tour players are looking for. What I do like with this one is the logo that I found really off-putting on the matte heads. It isn't quite as in your face with the shinier one, but you also don't have the alignment here. You don't have that little chevron. So it does just feel a bit more like a tour head.
That was fast.
Okay, Triple Diamond. Quite often with low spin drivers, I tend to find them having that little tendency to go out to the right. I don't like seeing the ball go to the right. I like to draw it, which I really struggle to do with low spin drivers. And every single ball that I've hit with this has just gone out a little bit to the right. They're launching that bit lower. You can definitely see that with the ball flight. And actually, I'm hitting the LS1 further than the other two models. But that lack of control and just not being able to draw the ball and always having that right tendency, I really don't like that. I did also find this one a little bit quieter. The standard model is definitely the loudest. It feels like it comes with a little bit of a punch. Normally I don't like loud drivers, but I quite like that one just because it feels like it's coming off really powerful, like you want from a driver. It's not like an annoying loud sound, it's a good loud sound. This one is definitely a bit more muted though, so if you don't want that loud sound, this would be a better option for that. Triple Diamond model probably isn't the one for me, even though I always like the way that the low spin drivers looks that little bit smaller. I think looking between the different models and the numbers we were seeing comparatively with the GC Quad, the best one out of the three models for me is just the standard model. Although I did find the X easier to hit, there was a little bit of a two-way miss going on, which I'm not a big fan of. And I did find that the standard model was going that little bit further. So I think this is probably the happy medium for me. It's middle in terms of distance. Even though it was leaking out a bit to the right, it wasn't massive and it was the most consistent out of the three. Coming on to a little bit of tech now. Luckily, there isn't loads and loads of tech to talk about, but there are a few new things compared to some of the Callaway previous models. We've got a new shape in the Elite heads, some new aerodynamics that are meant to help you swing this a little bit faster. We've also got a new Thermoforged carbon crown, so that's a new material, a little bit lighter, again, just helping to give you some faster club head speeds. It's a similar sort of thing to what we're seeing in most drivers now, just finding places that we can save a little bit of weight to redistribute that and help give a little bit more speed and forgiveness in different areas of the club. As always, with Callaway drivers, we are seeing the use of an AI face. Now, what's different with this one compared to the Paradigm AI Smoke model is we've got the AI 10X face. So this face is meant to have 10 times more hotspots as to where you can hit this slightly off center and still get away with it compared to last year's model. So overall, with the Elite drivers, if you're not quite hitting it out of the center of the face, you should still be able to see very good ball speeds with a lot of forgiveness and quite low dispersion in terms of where the ball is going. Now, the only other thing that we're seeing with this is we've now got a new weight system. So previously we were seeing the sliding weights. Here in the standard model, we can just move the weights around into a fade, neutral or draw biased. With the X driver, you can move it into a draw bias. And then the Triple Diamond just has front and back weights, so you can't actually choose what shot shape you're wanting there. 10th tee here at Praia del Rey. We've got the GC Quad set up. Let's see what the Elite driver can do out on the golf course. .235 carry, 137 ball speed, which that is definitely like upper end of what I want to see with a driver. So pretty impressed with that so far. Little challenge here to finish. We've got a short drivable par 4. Now the rules are I've got 3 balls, and if I hit it on the green, you have to hit that subscribe button. Oh no. That has gone so far left with the wind. Bit left with the first one, but 2 more balls to go. Oh, just hold on, hold on. Oh, that could be the one. That is so good. You know the rules. Hit that subscribe button. And considering how close that golf ball is, you should probably hit the like button as well. Really enjoying using this driver, but let's take a look at some of the numbers from the GC Quad. So we already said when I was testing it out initially on the range, because of the range balls, the numbers wouldn't be quite right. But essentially what we found out on the range was exactly the same when we took the GC Quad out onto the golf course with proper golf balls. So starting off with the standard model, which I chose was my favorite one, I was really impressed with some of the numbers I was getting there. So I was getting an average ball speed of 134, which is pretty much what I would expect, around 133, 134. However, some of my fastest ones were coming out at 137, and I even got a carry distance of 235, which is a lot for me. The average carry was around 223. So obviously there is the potential there to get a bit of a hot one going, but overall I was really impressed and really happy with the numbers. As we expected with the triple diamond, I was seeing the ball go that bit further when I hit it out the center, but I just got it spinning very low on some of the mishit shots, losing out a bit of distance and especially losing control with the ball going to the right. But there was one triple diamond that I got 140 ball speed and 237 yards of carry, which is probably the longest driver shot I have ever hit. So I'm pretty happy with that. But unfortunately, no matter how far my best shots were going with that, just wasn't quite consistent enough for me. And then with the X model, I did find that a little bit easier to hit. However, there was more of a two-way miss going on. So although it was most of the time, it was completely fine and in play, there was less of the control there in choosing where I wanted it to go. And when you look at the stats, it was just going that little bit shorter. So my average carry was 218, so coming down about 5 yards from the standard model, which is quite a bit of a dip. So for me, the standard model definitely performed best overall. So coming on to an overall verdict with the elite drivers. Obviously, I chose to use the standard model. That was my favorite one. And I think it's just really easy to hit. It reminds me a lot of my old Epic driver, but it goes a lot faster, it goes a lot further, and it is a lot nicer. If your driver is a few years old, say for example the Epic that I used to have, I do think you'll see a big difference changing into the elite drivers. However, we all know now that with driver technology, we're getting to a point where you can only make these sort of small tweaks and little gains on the previous models. I don't think you'd see a massive difference, to be honest, between the elite drivers and the AI smokes. However, I still really enjoyed hitting the elite driver. I was really impressed with the distances, really impressed with the speeds. And I can even see, just from looking at this and where my T pattern is, that I wasn't hitting it center all the time, but I was still hitting a lot of really good shots. So the forgiveness from that AI face is definitely there. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. First driver of 2025, and we've got loads more reviews to come. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out in the future.